Hello, you wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. Today I'm going to be doing a vlog, show and tell kind of thing. And I'm gonna try to experiment with different camera angles to see what kind of works well. But the topics of choosing to talk about today is, well, one, I have a few game pickups to talk about. Two, I was inspired by Angry Monkey's video talking about how Gameinformer shut down here just like a few days ago. I think he said it was last Friday. Yeah. From what it sounds like it was just instant shutdown of the entire Gameinformer thing. Apparently, I guess they were 70% done with next month's issue when they were told that um, they were shutting down. So, yeah, that's kind of awful because now more people are out of the job in that industry. So, hopefully, I guess it would be journalism career, hopefully, then people are going to be able to find um, another company to get into. Hopefully, they get to stick with their passion of video games as well. Because I assume that's why a lot of the people that work at Gameinformer got into it to begin with. Um, but yeah, so the things I'm gonna talk about in this vlog is gonna revolve kinda around that mindset about how just in general it seems like we're getting less and less of physical stuff going for towards each generation forward in gaming, and I kind of just want to share my thoughts on a few things. So yeah, but yeah, anyways, we'll start with the smaller thing, and that is actually my pickups. So yeah, we will get into that. Hello everyone, and welcome to the hand portion of the video. But no, as you can see, we got a different camera angle going on here. So, other than making like shadow puppets, um, so I got some pickups that I got from a local game shop. Um, from back when I got the $1,000 mystery box, I created a pile of games that I wanted to pile of games that I was gonna get rid of or trade in eventually. So I finally took them to the store, and this is what I got from that. But yeah, so we're gonna go with most interesting to least interesting, or least interesting to most interesting. There we go. But yeah, so now I only got six games, so it's not gonna be too crazy, at least quantity wise. But To start with, we have the Sega Genesis collection on the PS4. Over 50 classic games and a double-sided poster inside. So, ooh, ah, and it's actually in there too. But yeah, so I actually originally had this on the Xbox 360 when they had it labeled as Sonic's Sega Genesis collection or classics or something like that. It was the same. It was roughly the same kind of layout that this has, but you had a giant Sonic on top. But yeah, so I got this on the PS4. Just a nice way to have a bunch of these classic games. And we all know I need another way to play Sonic the Hedgehog 2. If we look on the back, you have the full list of games. And that is exactly what's all in the fine print up here. Get into the classics. Includes over 50 retro Sega favorites. You can challenge your friends, local and online multiplayer leaderboards. That's going to be questionable if that is still up. Retro classics modern convenience. Rewind, save states, graphics filters, and more. New ways to play, trophies, challenges, mirror mode. That's probably going to be pretty interesting. But yeah, I think if you've seen one of these Sega collections, you've seen them all, because I think they have the same 50 games on there. So I'm not going to read through them all. But yeah, so we will get to what... Well, we have a receipt. As you can see, they got it. This is my receipt. This is the old receipt. So this came from a store named Play It. Games, Movies, and Music. That's actually where I went, actually. So it does still come with a double-sided poster, but when it comes to instruction manual, this is all you have. The back of the, whatever you want to call it, cover art. But this was nice that they added a little double-sided poster, which we have Golden Axe and Streets of Rage. Kinda hard for me to get that in frame, but yeah. Then moving on, this one's going to be something I just kind of grabbed. We have Epic Mickey 2, The Power of 2. 1, beefing up my Xbox 360 collection. And I never really played any of the Epic Mickey games. And with the Epic Mickey Rebrushed coming out here soon at some point this year, I figured I'd pick up number 2 as well, because I might want to play that. So, Epic Mickey 2, The Power of 2. We have Unleash the Power of the Brush in an all-new co-op adventure. Team up as Mickey and Oswald in a battle to save the wasteland. Interact with forgotten Disney characters as never before. I mean, up until recently, I would say Oswald was pretty much a forgotten Disney character. We do have a instruction manual, though I wouldn't really. So they put effort of doing color and stuff, but it's only like 9 pages long. I believe the disc is in pretty good shape. Light scratches, but nothing too significant. Then, more towards the PS4, I finally picked up The Last Guardian. Um, so, I'm trying to remember. I don't think I remember the prices of all these, but I think this one was like $15 or $20, one or the other. But anyways, I've been meaning to pick this up eventually. Like, this was one of them games where I would have it in my hand at times when I'm picking through games to see what I want at that specific time. And this would always end up in my pile, but it would also be the one that always got put back. Just when it would always go into a maybe pile, and then it finally got past that maybe pile. But yeah, I've heard great games about this, or I've heard great things about this game, not great games about this thing. Let's try to talk right. So, I do have the remake of Shadow of the Colossus. I also have the original Shadow of the Colossus on the PS2. Only one I'm missing is Ico. I have heard at least like relaxing things about this game, so I hear it's like a pretty chill game. Nothing too interesting on the inside. It's got a reversible cover art, which if I ever want to reverse it, which it actually might look better that way, but yeah. Alright, next we have Life is Strange. Now, as far as from what this says on the box, it reads like it is the complete game on the disc. Because it says up here, award-winning and critically acclaimed Life is Strange, the complete season. So and it says that this is going to take up 14.1 gigabytes. So I'm going to assume the entire season is on the disc. But yeah, so I'm actually slowly trying to go through on the PS4 and PS5 to pick up all these kind of telltale like choice point and click adventure games kind of thing, if you want to call them that. I played this before, but I'm definitely glad to have it physically. I'm also hunting down a lot of the Dark Pictures anthology. If they're out on PS5, I do try to go that route. I don't know if this was released on the PS5, at least not outside of digitally. I know the sequel season, I think, is on PS5, or I could be wrong about that, but I don't really know. And yeah, I've been hunting down the Dark Anthology, which the same people that made that, I think, they also made Until Dawn, I think, which I also have. So yeah, I'm just trying to hunt down them kind of chillax, kind of cinematic. I was doing air quotes, but you couldn't see me. Cinematic kind of games. But yeah, this was a good one. I do hate that they put that sticker right on top of the disc, so that was a little annoying, but nothing that's gonna hurt things, I don't think. So we're down to the final two. These are going to be the most interesting ones and the ones most value. The others I like paid. I think this was $15. I think originally it said $12.99, but I think they charged me only $9.99 for this. This was 15. This might have also been 15. I can't really remember. I had the receipt. Nope, that's the wrong receipt. So no. Or no, Life is Strange was $20. I still have the tags and from where I tore them off. But yeah, so this one was $25, so not as big a jump, but a lot of people don't talk about this game, possibly because it kind of got rebooted. We have Nier. I haven't played much of this because I had this when I originally had an Xbox 360, but I only played like an hour of it. There were just some games that was hard for me to get into or that I didn't really give enough time to, and this was one of them. But yeah, so you have Near Replicant String of Numbers, whatever that one's called. I think it's supposed to be like a remake of this game or something like that, or maybe a retelling. I'm not really sure. And then of course you got Near Auto shoot, whatever the official like sequel game is. But this is where that started. And from my knowledge, this is like an entirely different game than what the new game is. So it's still worth getting. And this was only on the Xbox 360, so probably it's one of the few unique RPGs on the 360. They did not have a lot of RPGs on there. Or wait, no, this might have been on PS3. So take back that it might have been on PS3 as well. I don't really know. But I think it is stuck on that generation of consoles. Have a little bit of manual, and the disc looks pretty much perfect. And then here is the big boy. Which this one was kind of funny, cause while they was adding up my trade-ins, which took them quite a bit since I had a little bit of stuff. I was looking through the store trying to pinpoint certain things, just what I wanted before they gave me my price. One of the things I was hunting was on the Switch, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, but they only had a new copy and they was trying to sell it for $60. Personally, I feel that it probably wouldn't have been worth the $60, but so instead, I was looking again. I had already looked through probably the whole store, did a quick scan anyways of everything I wanted to look at. When I was going across my second time while looking like in the more high value games behind the glass, this one was kind of tucked back to where I didn't see it the first time, but it is definitely a game I was looking for, so I definitely jumped on it. We have Splatterhouse. So This is, I guess, more kind of a generic kind of 3D hack and slash. Um, but I do feel in some aspects it does not get uh, the the love that it deserves, kind of. Um, when this came out, it released to like mixed to negative reviews, and so it didn't really sell well. Also, I guess the game was kind of in development hell for quite a bit. Anyways, this is a retelling, uh, a reboot, retelling kind of the original Splatterhouse that was released on as an arcade kind of game back in 1988, I believe. It was a side scroller where you played as this Jason Voorhees looking character, just cutting up monsters, pretty much. Um, this series was heavily inspired by all like the horror 80s slasher movies. So it was interesting. Probably the only reason this was on my radar back in the day is Castlevania Lords of Shadows came out. Or, yeah, Lord of Shadows. I actually really love that game. I would like to actually get that again if I ever come across it. Um, but since I was off of that, I heard about this game and I don't know. I knew about it and I got it on release. Um, so yeah, it definitely advertises it being a very gory game that's basically it was built upon to be as gory as possible as it could possibly be for an M-rated game. Um, Also, it includes all the original three Splatterhouse games that you can unlock. I know we all miss unlockables in games. The only downside is there was no manual, unfortunately. The disc looks good though, so I can always get the manual later if it bugs me enough. But yeah, I'm so happy to have this. Definitely will have to play it on the channel at some point, or try to, anyways. YouTube has kind of been iffy with when it comes to um, gore and video games and stuff like that. But yeah, so them were my pickups for this month. Um, let's move on to the other topics and kind of show and tell. Alright, all, welcome back to the hands. So, obviously, Angry Monkey was talking about the closing of Gameinformer, which is very sad. Unfortunately, the writing was kind of on the wall even a few years ago because Nintendo Power got out of the magazine kind of thing. It's just with the internet, it's really hard to justify when people can just search up on the internet and just pretty much able to look up specifically what they want without reading through a whole magazine. But yeah, so, and that's the thing, even the interviews in game magazines, even if they're exclusive interviews, they get reposted online, so it almost was inevitable that this was going to happen. So, all I can say is a moment of silence for all the Game Informer employees, and I wish them the best of luck. But I am going to kind of go into a different route from this. I'm gonna start. So, I mentioned before at the beginning of the video where I pretty much we're heading towards a digital age, and well, it's not. It doesn't just show in just straight up video games. It what I'm gonna go off of is we can see it happening with manuals. Um, Strategy guides have already shut down, which I'm gonna show off kinda just a little bit of that as well. But yeah, so I just want to show you some of the earlier stuff. I do want to give an honorable mention because I don't have like any boxed like cartridge based games, so I can't really show any manuals as that aspect goes. But back in that area, so with NES, it was kind of hit or miss whether you was gonna get a quality manual that was kind of half-ass put together, or you was gonna get a very detailed manual. Like, I'm pretty sure the Legend of Zelda official NES manual had a lot of info in it. And another notable one, uh, Dragon Warrior actually came with its own like little very small booklet of like they called it a traveler's guide, but really it was a strategy guide because at the time that was one of the first RPGs that released on console, and they wanted to make sure that the people that bought that game was going to be able to know how to play them games. So the very first Dragon Warrior came with actual like little strategy guide, which that was very awesome of them. They don't really do that much anymore, if I don't. Well, not they don't, but yeah. And then honestly, same with Super Nintendo. You get your black and white kind of manuals that are a few pages long, and then you get your deep ones like for The Legend of Zelda, for Super Metroid. You get a more kind of thick boy of a manual. It's just very awesome to flip through. So, unfortunately, I can't show you guys any of them, but we can kind of go back and see through just a few of the different kind of things. So this we have a PlayStation game. Obviously, it's set up mainly just like a CD case. So you open it, you slide the manual out. These were always kind of a pain to slide out a little bit. With sometimes you end up breaking the case too, or bending the manual itself. So gotta be a little careful. But yeah, so this one was a black and white one, of course. But you got a lot of info, so it made up for it in that area. Like, what is this all about? Then you get a whole 3 pages of story. Like, 3 pages of story that they could have just told you in the game, but you also get pictures of the 3 Rampage characters. Then you start to get into the game stuff. So, not a deep, deep kind of manual, but it was okay. Still, I bet kids had a fun time like flipping through it on the drive home. So waiting to play Rampage World Tour. Just to realize that this, well, yeah. But yeah. Now, I have another PlayStation game here, but this is a dual case, so manuals are set up a little bit different on this one. This is, in particular, Dragon Warrior 7. Case is a little cracked, unfortunately, but came that way. So, got one side with disc 2, and then you got the other side with disc 1, but the manual's in this, like, little. Let's do it like this. Just flip it out. Coming soon, Dragon Warrior 4. It never came. At least not over here. But look at this boy. Look at that. Look at how thick that is. That is a thick boy. Well, for a CD case. But yeah, then you got color, like story, then cast a character and the backgrounds to the characters. I've never actually played through this specific game. But yeah, so then you finally get to controls. But it's even the boring stuff, like the booklet is very colorful, so you know that a kid had a heck of a time flipping through this on the way home, waiting to put this game in their PlayStation and begin on a 100-hour journey. And yes, this is like a 100-hour game, especially this version. So people have said. Still has the little survey fan club kind of thing. But yeah, this was definitely a high point when it came to manuals. So PlayStation, they did not disappoint when it came to manuals. Not at all. And yes, I know I'm not really reading through this and stuff. If you want to freeze frame on any of this and actually read it, feel free to. Then again, I don't know how well the picture's going to come through, so I actually have that too. I just did not pick out that manual, unfortunately, to show. But I do have that. But yeah, that is. I wanted to show you an example of the two different kinds of manuals that you can get on the PlayStation. From there, we're going to start to hop to the PlayStation 2. So, I have here Ultimate Spider-Man. Great Spider-Man game. One of my favorites. Got it for $10 at Half Price Books. What a steal, right? Considering the game's worth $40. Yeah, at that time, Half Price Books was slipping. But yes, so it does have a manual. This isn't the worst manual, but you can see that they were definitely cutting cost when it comes to like color. The story so far is what? That's barely even like might be 60 words, maybe. I don't know. It's a big world out there. And yeah, this kind of manual was, not only was it black and white, but also it was just, it's kind of full of like boring details. Like, so they did have their low points in manuals um, during the PlayStation 2 era, but there was still some effort put into it. It's not, well, you're gonna see here in a little bit. It's not, there was effort put into it, at least a little bit. And yeah, I may be biased, but we are going to be looking at Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King. This one I don't have the demo disc for Final Fantasy with this one, but it's because Dragon Quest, they typically do a good job with their manuals. Well, in the older games. Look at that color, like right when you open it, just the color of the leaves, and you have your like warning page. And you have a prologue, this beautiful world map, which people could actually use if they didn't have a strategy guide or they didn't want to look on the internet. They could literally use this to help kind of guide them where to go towards. And you, of course, got the character art and little bios. It's just awesome. Then I start getting into the game information, but because it's so colorful, it makes you want to look at it. And then just little things like this shows you how the shops have signs, and it tells you what sign means what on the map. And let's see. But yeah, it's just going up. Then you get a little weapons and a little bit of weapon art. Then armor, then items. Just the basic stuff, but still cool. Oh, this is cool. Specific jobs. Let's see. So you got a bunch of like different spells and stuff, and it tells you how many magic points that it uses. So that's kind of cool and helpful stuff to have in RPG manual. There was just a whole lot of love put into this manual. Yeah. And then we get to relatively kind of a more current, I guess. I'm going to use examples that I already showed in the video, like this Epic Mickey 2. We already looked briefly at the thing. Now look at this thin boy. And it's the sad thing is this is not the thinnest it gets. So the art is kind of cool, but it's the same art for each page pretty much. And then that's it. So kind of sad. But wouldn't want to leave you without going out on a stronger note, and we have Nier here, which is a much more of a thicker boy, but not the thickest. And I should stop using that because, yeah. But yeah, you get a nice, good bit of story to get you started with. Then characters and bios with some character art. Then you start getting into the game and stuff like that. But yeah. Like that said, shops. Though I think most of this is menu based. So not a lot of color in here, but when it comes to info, definitely a lot of effort was put into this over the Epic Mickey. Oh, well, if anyone, you can even still register products anymore. There you go. And which brings us kind of to this. This is what's considered a manual now, if you even get that. It's a sad thing. Still nice that sometimes you get posters and stuff. Do I have a PS4 game that actually has a manual? Give me a moment. Okay, so I do have one other example for this point in the topic. So we got The Evil Within 2. It does have a manual. If you want to call that a manual. Woo! Impressive, huh? You can just imagine looking through this on the drive home, can't ya? Can't wait to play that. Important health and safety warnings. Gee gosh, that's telling me a lot about the game. But yeah, so it is extremely kind of a sad time when it comes to manual. And now manuals are gone. Oh wait, not fully gone, because now we got sometimes you get digital manuals that come with the game. Does anyone actually look at a digital manual? I have never looked at one. It just seems like pointless. And eventually the website shuts down that it's hosted on, and then no more manual. So yeah, it's just kind of a sad thing that's happening. So, and then I'm going to move on to the final part. Hello, and welcome to the final part I want to bring up when it comes to things kind of shutting down now that we're going more towards a digital future. Last thing I want to start going through is a few different types of strategy guides. Strategy guides did not change too much over the years, at least between the strategy guides I have. But I I still think it's worth showing them off a little bit. So I would say arguably this is Prima. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Prima guide, but it's purely a guide that's based on just giving you info. It's not meant to look pretty or anything. And the one I'm going to use, for example, for that is, let me give a little bit of space. Yep. Okay, it's SimCity 4. So obviously, it's going to be definitely much more of like it's a guide. It's just a very, very boring guide. Like, just everything's in black and white. Nothing's really to catch the eye outside of screenshots. And yeah, then you get numbers and stuff like that, so. But it was still useful. Like, someone went through and put all of this together, so obviously there was effort put into this. Like, someone had a certain way they played this to where they thought they were professional enough to tell you how to play through this game and make it easier for you. I was never really good at SimCity 4, so I don't actually own the game now. I just got this because I used to play the game at some point in time, and I thought it would have been a cool novelty to have. Interesting. I didn't know all the Sims and expansion packs had their own guide. Shifting away from Prima to more of a... This is more of an third-party unofficial guide. You might have heard of the brand Versus Books. They made their own guides, but it was... Well, maybe they were official. I don't know. I always... Maybe that was it, just that it was a third party. But this is a Versus book, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. 2 free giant posters inside. Not anymore. But yeah, this strategy guide was much, much cooler. Look at that art. Like, it's not just info. You have a lot of eye-popping, interesting maps. Like, look at that boss art right here. It's just so neat. I don't know if everything was covered in this, but there was definitely a lot. Wow. And you got King Dodongo. But yeah, this was definitely awesome. They love to do this. Whoever was responsible for putting this guide together, they loved it. They love this job. I mean, I would probably consider this at least a form of art, being able to put all this together. there's the other poster that is not in here anymore. But I got this used, so what I wanted to do this one to the other because this is an older kind of Brady Games guide. We have the official Brady Games Super Smash Bros. Official Strategy Guide. I believe Prima also had a guide for this, but I definitely like the cover for this better than the Prima guide. This was also official art for this game too. Because this, maybe I'll get to it one day in my if I ever get back to doing what was that? My Internet Life. The official Smash Brothers website had this as art on there. But yeah, this is just cool. It's a little bit more basic because it uses the same art background for each page, but the details are awesome in it. Like, look at this. Look at how much they talk about Mario. Then you got all the moves continued. Then you get to his bonus levels. And then it goes from character to character. Now, there's not a whole lot of characters in the original Smash Brothers, but that is a nice format to do that in. And that actually might be the guide itself. Okay, now it's starting to show hidden characters, so spoilers if you don't want to be spoiled. Oh my gosh, you got spoiled. Who would have known? So when I unlocked Ness in the original Smash Brothers, I didn't have any clue who he was. Okay, then they go over the stages in the game. Then they quickly cover the player modes. Which is basically it's bonus awards if you are into the points. Then we got secrets, which these are the characters. Then you got earn secret stage, and you even had to unlock the sound test. You even had to earn item switch. It tells you, well, that's not really a secret, but it probably was hard for people to at first to get the concept that to change the color of your character, you use the 4C buttons. I imagine people would figure that out on their own, but yeah. So on that note, we're going to go switch from that to a guide from the official guide from Nintendo Power. So this is Super Smash Bros. Melee. My favorite of the series. But you can see it kind of has the same kind of art, kind of background, other than when it switches sections. Changes a tad bit, but the info is in here in a very nice kind of table format. And very condensed too, so granted, I'm gonna say it's not as fun as seeing like an image for each and every single move, but it's just how they decide to do this. Then they give you tips of routes to do the break the targets and stuff, which is neat. Then this is adventure mode maybe? No, this is just now this is adventure mode. Then they remade like this the Hyrule Maze or whatever. Uh, Escape from Brimstar or whatever the Samus Escape stages. And you got Big Blue, Ice Climbers, All-Star mode. Event matches were kind of the meat of the one player, and they were good. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed the event matches. They kept me interested. Stadium was meh to me, anyways. And you got regular melee versus. But yeah, so you got, well, and it goes over the trophies. What would have been cool is if it actually had all the detailed, like, trophy information written in the book. That would have been a lot of work, though. But I imagine they could have done it, but here is a giant list of the trophies. Then you got your items, Pokemon list, stages. No! Well, that's what you get for... So, somebody decided to... Right in here, beside stages, someone thought Cornerio was an awesome stage, apparently. I don't know if you can see it that well. But then we get a bunch of cool, 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 cool. So whoever owned this, maybe you're watching this video right now. Maybe you remember marking in this strategy guide. Somebody wrote beside the hidden character Luigi's Mansion. Someone had a sense of humor. Then it looks like they were marking off the event matches. Looks like that they did. Which is weird, because... Or maybe they was marking off the hidden trophies they got, I guess. Well, they didn't complete it, unfortunately. That was interesting, and that probably took up 5 minutes of the video, so I'm sorry for that. These next ones shouldn't take up too much longer, but we'll see. This is probably going to be a little bit over an hour video, but we got a more recent Brady Games guide. We got Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 2. So this is going to be, I would call this one, there's a lot of color in it to catch your eyes, but it's also very, very, very heavily like a thick one, so there's a lot of info in here. Like, insane amount. This is the table of contents. Then, so just to start out with, we have a bunch of like gameplay type, quick like gameplay things. But then we start to get into, this is Captain, a whole like 2 pages dedicated to Captain America. Then a whole page we got the characters and stuff. So yeah, and they're in alphabetical order. I'm not going to go too deep into the characters just because I do eventually want to get this game. But then you get a lot of, basically a full-blown like walkthrough, pretty much. Like there's just a lot of info thrown at you in this, along with maps and screenshots, and it's kind of almost like, well, kind of a textbook with pictures. So yeah, kind of see what we're dealing with. Then you got achievements, of course, which are these hidden characters? Because for some reason Blade is showing up here, and Captain America again. So I don't know what this is. Oh, it also shows on the side all the fusion combos you can do. I guess the downside to a guide like this is all the pages kind of blend in, they kind of look the same. Though, wait. So in the game there is Marvel trivia questions that you talk to specific people to answer. And I do think you get some for doing it, but basically it has all the questions and answers on this page. And the next page. And the following page. And the following page after that. And then you finally have the credits of the guide, and you get a splash screen, and that is that guide. So we're going to look at a more recent, Xbox 360 era kind of Prima guide. I'm just using Naruto Rise of the Ninja since I already had it out. This guide is interesting because it uses interesting artwork. Like, it does use the same artwork for most of the pages, but then you get unique artwork too. I say unique, but it's probably just artwork that they found. But it's much more easy on the eyes kind of guide. Like, there's info in here, but it looks like it would be a little bit more fun of a read than, say, the Ultimate Alliance guide we just looked at. But this is like a adventure kind of game / fighting game / just tried to do platforming game. Tried to do a lot of things. Then you get character info, which you normally get a couple pages, then like a move page. Then for some reason there's a manga page. Naruto. Neji Hyuga. But yeah, so it goes through character after character here at the end. Then you get Naruto trivia answers, so, which is interesting. So maybe one day I will do a video where I try to answer some of these trivia questions. Because I have watched Naruto quite a lot. And the last one I want to show off before we end the video is I have a collector's edition guide. Haven't used it really any. I actually don't even have Breath of the Wild anymore, but I did get this guide when it was first released. So it was probably one of the few, I don't want to say last guides, but it was definitely getting to that point where guides were about ready to just shut down completely, because they didn't last too much longer after this was released. But yeah, I still have the map. Haven't drawn it though. I am a little bit upset that that is coming apart and there was just the page stuck together there, unfortunately. But we got a hardcover. So this is another one that I would say is probably not so much fun. It's probably a little bit hard to get into to read this, just because there is so much there's just pictures and words, pictures and words, pictures and words. So many words, so many big pictures, words. Yeah, it's not what I would say is a fun guide, but highly informative guide. Though this guide does have like a few fun aspects, well, a fun aspect, but it's not till the very, like, this part's cool, like having all the armor and their stats, having all the weapons you can pick up in their, or make in their stats. That's pretty cool. Shields, arrows, just everything, all the items. That's cool to have. Same with the bestiaries. That's pretty cool. Definitely like to have booklets that have a bestiary. And then you get extras, but at the very, very, very end, you get concept art. Heck yeah. Now, it's only like just a few pages of concept art, but still, it's a little something. If I can get it to flip. There we go. Then we got an index, credits, and that is pretty much it. Let me get that in there. That's the back of the book, and it kind of flips over into the same kind of picture. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that video. I know it went on kind of long, so thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night. And yeah, have fun.